Hey guys, Robert Wheeler here with White Bone Knives. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about becoming an individual in the world of knife making. And when I say that, I mean there's a lot of questions on my channel that float around that say, what exactly do you use? And I don't mind telling you guys exactly what I use, and that'll actually get you started. But what you really need to do is find out what works best for you. And I'm just gonna be hand sanding while I do this little video. It's oftentimes that I am hand sanding out here, and I think about these things while I'm doing this. What could I be telling my subscribers, followers on here? What could I be telling them? I feel like I could be giving you guys advice during this time. So, what makes you the individual? Like, what makes you different from any other knife maker? Sometimes I have guys that ask me like super detailed questions, and it's like, well, I don't even know the answer to that question. Like, like some people will ask me, like for instance, right here, what would the bevel be on the knife so they could produce this exact same grind? Well, this exact same grind is not going to work on the knife that you're doing unless you replicate it to the T. So when I'm grinding my knives, I don't know the exact angle that I'm grinding the bevel at. I just grind it to what makes the knife work. The shorter this bevel is, the thicker your blade's going to be. So the more you taper it upwards, the thinner it will become and a better slicer it will be. Things like that. Or I'll get guys that ask me, is this a good grinder? Well, yeah, it seems like a good grinder. All I have right now is my KMG, and the one that I built myself, which is in the other part of the garage. I guess I don't really know about all these grinders, but yeah, they seem like good units. I also want to say, do a Google search. When I first started, I didn't have Instagram at first, and so I wasn't really able to ask all these people these questions. I researched the heck out of what I was doing before I even started, and I was able to get into it rather decent from doing all that research. Yeah, man, if you don't know the answer to something, Google it. I mean, the information is out there most generally. And as you get like further into knife making and you have some more like detailed or complex questions, then ask me after you've been doing it for a little bit and you kind of understand a few things. I don't mind helping people, even if it is a simple questions, but I mean, you could probably get a faster response from Google. Yeah, don't hesitate to use your search engines. But I guess going back to being an individual in knife making, you gotta do what works for you. Like what I say isn't exactly key, because there's 10 other, 100 other knife makers just like me that do the same process with a different tool or a different setup or different materials. So there's not just one way to do things. You might be able to produce something in a certain timely manner, but you might be able to do it faster, but that's something that you have to try out, because I've had guys tell me, this is how I do it and this is how I do it, and I'm like, well, man, that seems like it would take an awful long time. And some cases I've been able to produce things faster than other people, and I'm sure I do a heck of a lot of things slower than other people too, but that's up to you. You really got to experiment in doing what you do. I've had guys ask me, what handle material should I use? Well, what do you like? It's not so night and day. What's the knife going to be used for? And that even goes back to the cutting edge. What's the knife going to be used for? There is no best angle for a knife. There's a pretty good angle for a certain type of knife, but there's not a best angle for a knife. It just doesn't exist. There's kitchen knives, there's hunting knives, there's knives that you can just go out in the woods and beat on all day and nothing happened to them because they're built to last. Yeah, that's a pretty good topic to cover as well. What's the grind on a knife have to do with how it performs? So like kitchen knives, they got a pretty wide width to them and they're thin. because you want to slice with them. You're not going to be out there banging on a tree with a kitchen knife. So that, that's something you got to take into consideration. There's no best angle. Even handle material. What handle material is the best to use for knives? Well, it's all pretty decent right now. I mean, if you just want to slap wood scales on your knife, then so be it. If you don't mind maintaining it. But if you want something maintenance free, go with a synthetic or get stabilized wood. Things like that. There's no ultimate answer. You just gotta kind of play around with things. And learning knife making, I was learning all kinds of new things, but there's certain things that you just gotta explore and play around with different materials.